Hi, I'm Chef Jeff, and I'm about to teach you something basic, but necessary for you to master your home kitchen and feel more at home on the range. All right? You have to learn how to saute. So today, we're gonna saute in this pan like a champion. So we're about to walk you through the 3 steps right here. First, turn your flame on, right? So the flame is on, my pan is on, and it's just getting hot. It takes a little while for the pan to get hot. And so people always ask me in our cooking classes, we do live cooking classes as well as this stuff on YouTube. And one of the things they always ask me is, how do you know when your pan is hot? Well, the thing I try to tell them is, first, just move your pan, right? I feel the heat right here on my face, right? From the flame, and as soon as you put a pan on there, that kind of heat goes away. But when your pan starts to get hot, you'll start to feel the heat radiate, right? Your face is very sensitive, and I learned this from cooking on 12 burners at a time, where you didn't have time to test each pan. You just had to be able to walk by a pan and lean over a pan and just know if it's hot, right? So you first heat the pan, that's step number 1. Then step number 2 is you heat the fat, right? So fat, you'll hear me talk a lot about in our cooking videos about fat, right? Fat is any cooking fat. It could be bacon grease, lard, butter, any type of oil, right? Any of those items fall under the cooking fat umbrella, right? So today I'm gonna be using some olive oil, right? So I have to make sure my pan doesn't get too hot. I don't wanna burn the olive oil, but I do want my pan to be hot all the way through, because there's a little science behind it. We'll talk about that in just a second. So heat the pan, that's the first step. Then heat the fat, right? I'm gonna put a little cooking fat in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let the fat get hot, give it a second. So that when you take your food and you put it in, which is what we're about to do, I'm gonna start with little onions here, and a little pancetta here on the side, okay? You hear that sizzling sound, right? That sizzling sound is the sound of a great saute. You hear that? So beautiful, okay? Now, my pan might be a little too hot. Turn it down just a hair. That sizzling sound is a great sound. And what that sound is a little bit about the science behind sauteing, right? So sauteing is where when you heat the pan and you heat the fat and you put your food in, that is the sound of that sizzle is the sound of heat pulling moisture out of the food and evaporating it quickly, right? Because do you know what makes your food stick to the pan? It's moisture. Moisture makes all of your food stick to the pan. And so if you evaporate the moisture fast, as soon as the moisture is gone, your food will just release from the pan, and you'll be able to cook more fluently and efficiently and get better results in the end. And a lot faster too, actually, all right? So we're gonna saute those for just a minute here. Right. We're gonna add maybe some more peppers to it. Right there. Oh, did you see me flipping a pan like that? Do you wanna do that? We'll have another video. If you just check the card or in the show notes, you'll be able to get a link to the video on how to master flipping in a pan. So check that video out as well. So here, we're just sauteing some ingredients. We're gonna make a little salad today. What we're making is not as important as the skill we're trying to teach here. So heat the pan, heat the fat, heat the food. So here, you know what? Do this. Put your hands up like this. All right. So if you were live and in person with in our classes here, this is what we do too, right? Put your hands up. And we say, we heat the pan, heat the fat, heat the food. Heat the pan, heat the fat, heat the food, heat the... Are you doing it? All right, heat the pan, heat the fat, heat the food. I know you're laughing at me. I look like a fool, right? But when you do that, you won't forget it. We have people who send me videos and notes and say, thank you for teaching me how to saute. They sing the song to their dogs and to their kids. I mean, it's great. So that's what we do here. Is we teach you skills that you can repeat over and over and over. And sauteing, every time you come to the stove, you need to know how to saute so that you can make something great. So we have some of this stuff sauteing here, and I have a little shrimp today because I felt like some shrimp. So I'm gonna put a little bit of fat just on my shrimp, a little salt and pepper, okay, and give that a toss. And I'm just gonna make some room right here in my pan. Again, hearing that sizzling sound. And we're just gonna let those cook. So again, what's important to know is the science of what's happening here, right? So there's actually a couple of things. I always say that there's a principle to learn and then there's benefits that come from it. So the principle is you heat the pan, you heat the fat, and you heat the food so that you can evaporate moisture quickly and release all of your food from the pan. That's the goal, plain and simple, with sauteing. Now there's some benefits to it as well. So after you do that, when moisture evaporates, then the temperature of your food will rise into a hotter stage, and you can get to that point where your onions caramelize or your steak sears and you get that nice brown crust, right? So you get the Maillard reaction, or you get this caramelization of food sugars. And so that's a secondary benefit of doing the process right. But the main goal is to keep your food from sticking to the pan. And so none of my food is sticking to the pan, right? I'm gonna cook in my shrimp. I'm gonna cook them, I cook them halfway first, and we'll flip them over, cook the other half. We'll talk about how to perfectly cook proteins in another video and another day, all right? So my shrimp are just about done. Hopefully you're gonna practice this at home. Heat the pan, heat the fat, heat the food. Then you're gonna get this great tasting food. You get some of those other benefits of like the brown on the shrimp and some caramelization on some of the food, if that's what you desire for that particular dish. And that's what I'm going for today. So I'm gonna put this on my plate, make a little salad. And I do have a little balsamic syrup we're gonna put on top.